Hello students. So today we will do a quick revision to our chapter matrices. Let's start with the meaning of matrix first. Matrix is an ordered arrangement of numbers or functions. For example, here we have given one example of a matrix. So when you have an ordered arrangement like this 1, 2, 3, 4 and you write it in a square bracket, that is called a matrix, and matrix always have a name also, and that should be a capital letter. A matrix having m rows and n columns is said to have order m by n. So numbers written in these horizontal lines, these are called rows, and these vertical are called columns. So here you have 2 rows and 2 columns. So if your matrix is having m rows and n columns, then the order is written as number of rows by number of columns. So its order will be m by n. A matrix of order m by n has mn elements. So number of elements you can get only by multiplying the order. So for example, here your order is 2 by 2, so the number of elements will be 4. Next is types of matrices. First type of matrices is column matrix. A matrix in which you have only one column. The way you can see here, see, this is only one column, 1, 2, only one column, and rows can be any number. So here you have one column, so the such type of matrix are called column matrix. Row matrix, a matrix in which you have only one row. Column can be 3, 4, 5, any number of columns you can have, but row should be one. That matrix is called a row matrix. Next is a square matrix, a matrix in which number of rows is same as number of columns. As you can see here, number of rows here are 2 and number of columns are also 2, therefore it is a square matrix. Next is diagonal matrix. So diagonal matrix is one where diagonal elements, so these are the diagonal elements. Diagonal elements are basically where I and j are equal. So we only have one diagonal in a matrix. So a matrix, or we should specifically say a square matrix. A diagonal matrix is always a square matrix. So a square matrix is called a diagonal matrix when diagonal elements are non-zero and others are 0. Scalar matrix. Scalar matrix is a diagonal matrix in which diagonal is one scalar, like 3, 3, or it can be 4, 4, it can be 5, 5, and non-diagonals are 0. Then is identity matrix. Identity matrix is also a square matrix. It is a diagonal matrix also, and it is a scalar matrix also, but in this matrix the scalar should be 1 only. Next is zero matrix, and the other name is a null matrix. A zero matrix is a matrix where all the elements are 0. Next is equality of matrices. Two matrices are said to be equal when they are of same order, and second condition that their corresponding elements are also equal. So when two matrices are equal, first thing is that they should be of same order, and the second is their corresponding elements are equal. Now let's see operations on matrices. The first one is addition of matrices. So given two matrices, matrix A and matrix B, if we want to add these two, then first condition is they should be of same order. If order of A is not same as order of B, we cannot add them, and we can add them by simply adding the corresponding element. So 1 plus 5 is 6, 2 plus 6 is 8, 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 8 is 12. Similarly, difference, if you need to calculate difference of two given matrices, the condition is same, that they should be of same order. If they are not of same order, we cannot calculate their difference. So if for the same example we are calculating A minus B also, so same way we will subtract corresponding elements. 1 minus 5 minus 4, 2 minus 6 minus 4, 3 minus 1 2, and 3 minus 8 is, so 3 minus 1 is 2, and 4 minus 8 will give you minus 4. Now here are some properties written. See, matrix addition is always commutative. It is associative also. See, given a matrix A, its additive inverse will be minus of A. It means if we multiply the given A with a negative sign throughout, then that minus A will give us its additive inverse. Now, additive identity, as we all know, additive identity basically means when you add additive identity, the matrix should not change. So, for any given matrix, additive identity will be the zero matrix of the same order. Next is multiplication of a matrix by a scalar. So let's see one example. We are taking one example of this matrix where A is a matrix with two elements only. So if we multiply A with the scalar 2, so which basically means every element of A will be multiplied with 2. So twice of A will be 2 and 2 into 2 is 4. Now our next one is multiplication of matrices. How can we multiply two matrices? We have seen addition, we have seen subtraction also. Let's see multiplication now. So multiplication is a little difficult, so pay very careful attention. We are taking one example here where A is a matrix of order 2 by 2 and B is another matrix of order 2 by 1. Here also we have one condition, and the condition is that if we are multiplying two matrices, then number of columns of first matrix, here number of columns are 2, should be equals to number of rows of second matrix. As we can see here, number of columns in A are 2 and number of rows in B are 2. If this condition is not satisfied, we cannot multiply the matrices. So here, as this condition is given, because number of columns in A is also 2 and number of rows in B is also 2, it means we can multiply AB. Now when we will multiply AB, the order of the resultant matrix will be, so virtually just imagine that we are cancelling this 2 and this 2. So we are left with 2 by 1. So the resultant, the product of AB will be a matrix of order 2 by 1. So this is what we have written here. 2 by 1 basically means it will have 2 rows and 1 column. So 2 rows basically means 2 horizontal lines. 1 column basically means 1 vertical line. So these intersection points are the elements. So it means that AB will look like this. AB will have two elements, A11 and A21. Now we'll see how to calculate A11. So A11, for that we will take R1 of A and C1 of B. Now the logic is that, as you can see here, first number is 1 and the second one is also 1. So first number basically represents that row which we have to take from our first matrix, and second one represents that column which we have to take from our second matrix. So we will take R1 of A and, because this is also 1, C1 of B and multiply corresponding elements and add them. Now let's see here. As we can see, R1 here is 1, 2 and C1 here is also 1, 2. We will multiply corresponding elements. 1 into 1, that is 1, and as I have written, add them, the sign will be of addition. Then 2 into 2 will give you 4. So 1 plus 4 will give you 5, and this is nothing but your element A11. Let's see it one more time. Our next element is A21. It means that we should take second row from A. So second row of A is this, that is 3, 4, and first column of B, which is 1, 2. So let's multiply corresponding elements. 3 into 1 is 3 plus 4 into 2 is 8. So 3 plus 8 is 11. So this way we multiply two matrices. So here A11 is 5 and A21 is 11. So AB is 5, 11. So product of AB is nothing but this matrices. So by using this method, we can multiply any two matrices provided they should satisfy this condition, that number of columns of first matrix should be equals to number of rows of second matrix. Now the next one is a very important point. If AB is defined, then BA need not to be defined. Now let's see what is this result. We are taking one example here. We are taking a matrix B where the order of B is 2 by 1 and a matrix A where order of A is 2 by 2. We can easily define AB because order of A is 2 by 2, order of B is 2 by 1. It means number of columns of A is same as number of rows of B. So resultant matrix AB will of order 2 by 1. But in the same situation, if we want to define BA, so for that we should have this condition that number of columns of B should be equals to number of rows of A, but which is not true here. As we can see, number of columns in B are 1, but number of rows in A are 2. So these two are not equal. It means that given same matrices, AB product is defined but BA product is not defined. So this remark says that if AB is defined, then it is not necessary that BA will be defined. But if A and B both are square matrices of same order, then both AB and BA are always defined. Now the next important thing is, if AB and BA are both defined, then it is not necessary that they will be equal also. So they can be different also. Let's see one example for this. We have taken two matrices, matrix A of order 2 by 2 and matrix B of order 2 by 2. So first we are finding AB. So as A has 2 rows in it and B has 2 columns in it, so your resultant matrix will be of order 2 by 2. So our first element, we will multiply first row with first column. So 1 into 0 is 0. Plus 0 into 1 is 0. Now same way second element is A12. So A12 means first row and second column. So 1 into 1 is 1 plus 0 into 0 is 0. Now your third element is A21. A21 means second row, first column. So 0 into 0 is 0. And minus 1 into 1 is minus 1. And the last element is A22. So we will take second row from here and second column from here. 0 into 1 is 0 and minus 1 into 0 is also 0. So AB is coming out to be 0, 1, minus 1, 0. Now we'll calculate BA by using the same method, but when you will calculate BA, it will be 0, minus 1, 1, 0. So in this we have seen that AB and BA both are defined but they are not same. Therefore AB is not equals to BA. So we have to keep all these points in our mind. Then is we need to see some properties of matrix multiplication also. Matrix multiplication is not necessarily commutative. This is what we have proved here, that AB is not equals to BA, but matrix multiplication is associated, which means given three matrices A, B and C, this condition will be true. So matrix multiplication is associative. Now we need to see multiplicative identity. As we know, a number will become multiplicative identity when you multiply it with any other number, then you get the number itself. So same way, a matrix, its multiplicative identity will be that matrix, so that when it is multiplied with A should remain A only. So multiplicative identity is an identity matrix of same order such that identity into A is equals to A into identity is equals to A. We always take both the things because matrix multiplication is not necessarily commutative. Our next one is transpose of a matrix. So transpose basically means given a matrix A, we have taken a matrix here 1, 3, 2, 4. Its transpose is represented by A raised to the power T, or you can represent it with A dash. Transpose basically means rows will be interchanged with columns. So as you can see, 1, 3 is your first row, you will write it in the place of column. 2, 4 is your second row, it will become second column. So all the rows will be written in place of columns. This is called transpose. Now some properties of transpose. If you take 2 times transpose, which means transpose of a transpose is matrix itself. Scalar, this small k is representing a scalar here. K times of A whole transpose is equals to K times of A transpose, because transpose is a concept of matrices, it is not a concept of scalar, so scalar will remain as it is. A plus B whole transpose is equals to A transpose plus B transpose, and A into B whole transpose, when you will open this, the order will be reversed, it will become B transpose into A transpose. Next one is a symmetric matrix. A square matrix A is said to be symmetric if its transpose and the matrix both are exactly same. So here is one example. We have taken A, where A is 1 1 1 2. Now let's write down its transpose. This is first row, it will become first column. This is our second row, it will become our second column. But as you can see, A and A transpose both are same. It means this A is a symmetric matrix. So whenever you have to check whether the given matrix is symmetric or not, you only need to check this condition, that A transpose should be equals to matrix itself. Next is skew symmetric matrix. Now in skew symmetric matrix, the condition is little different from symmetric ones. A square matrix is said to be skew symmetric if A transpose is equals to minus A. Not A this time, but it is minus A. There is one more thing. Diagonal elements of a skew symmetric matrix are always 0. So here is one example. We have taken a matrix A because, as I have said, diagonal elements of skew symmetric are 0. So all three diagonals are 0. Here we have taken E, F, G, and here we have taken minus E, minus F, minus G. So this is a specific pattern, and the pattern is that in order to construct a skew symmetric matrix, you need to keep this thing in your mind. See, we have taken A12 equals to E. Then you should take A21 exactly same but with a different sign. Similarly, as you can see, A13 is F here, and you should take A31 minus F then. And the same relation is between this element and this element also. This is A23, which is G, and this is A32, which is minus G. So if you will take your elements like this and you will construct a matrix, that matrix will always be a skew symmetric matrix. The only condition is that if A12 is E, or in case if A12 is minus E, then A21 should be plus E. Means both should be same but with opposite signs. Now let's calculate the transpose. This is row 1. This will become column 1, row 2 will become column 2, and row 3 will become column 3. Now if you take a negative common, then all these three elements will become positive and these three will become negative, and this is nothing but your A. So if you take negative common, you will get A again. So here we can say that A transpose is nothing but minus of A. So this is one example of a skew symmetric matrix which is satisfying this condition. So next is elementary operations or transformations. Now basically we have 6 operations or transformations on a matrix, 3 of which are due to rows and 3 of which are due to columns. Now the first one is the interchange of any 2 rows or columns. So we can interchange any 2 rows or any 2 columns, and symbolically we write it like this. The second one is the multiplication of elements of any row or column by a non-zero number k, and symbolically we write it like this. So we can multiply any non-zero number k in any row or in any column. The next one says that the addition to the elements of any row or column, the corresponding elements of any other row or column multiplied by a non-zero number. So see it once again, the addition of elements of any row, like we are taking Ri here. So addition of elements of any row, the corresponding elements of any other row. So we are taking any other row as Rj here, multiplied by a non-zero number k. So this is your next elementary operation, and the same elementary operation you can apply to column also. And it's not essentially that we have to take plus, we can also take minus here. So only these 6 transformations are correct transformations, and I am giving you one example of a wrong transformation also. We cannot multiply any 2 rows or columns. For example, this is a wrong transformation, that if we are multiplying the corresponding elements of Ri with Rj, so this is wrong. Only these 3 types of transformations we can apply. So next is inverse of a matrix. For a square matrix A, if there exists a matrix B of same order such that A into B is equals to B into A is equals to I, then B is called the inverse of A, and same time A is also called inverse of B. It is written that for a square matrix A, so the note is rectangular matrix does not possess inverse. Inverse of a square matrix, if exists, is unique also. Now the question is how to calculate this inverse. So elementary operations helps us to calculate inverse of a matrix, but we need to understand that what is the difference between a row transformation and a column transformation. So here, inverse of a matrix using elementary transformations. First is, either row or column transformation can be used, but both cannot be used together. So if you are going for row transformations, you can apply row transformations only, and if you are going for column transformations, you can apply column transformations only, but both cannot be used together. Now we are taking one matrix equation, A equals to PQ, then effect of any row transformation on A is same as applying this elementary transformation on P and keeping Q unchanged. It means that given a matrix equation, if we are applying a row transformation, then we will apply it on A and P, but we will not apply it on Q. The Q will remain unchanged. Let's see one example here. Given to us is a matrix equation. So let us suppose that this is A, this one is P, and this one is Q, and we have to use R1 going to R1 minus 3 times of R2. So as we have discussed, row transformation means that we can apply it on A and we can apply it on P, but Q should remain unchanged. So we will apply this transformation on R1 here. 4 minus 3 times of 3, which is 4 minus 9, will give you minus 5, and 2 minus 3 times of 3, which is 2 minus 9, will give you minus 7, and R2 will remain as it is. Now same transformation we will apply here also. 1 minus 3 times of 0 will be 1, and 2 minus 3 times of 3, which is 9. So 2 minus 9 is minus 7, but Q will remain unchanged. So when we do a question of finding inverse by using row transformation, we start our question with A equals to IA, and we apply transformation on A, we apply transformation on I, but we keep this A unchanged because this I is basically nothing but corresponding to P. So in case of row transformation, the operations will be applied on left hand side and on the pre-multiplier matrix of right hand side. We will not apply it on A. Now let's see for column. The effect of any elementary column operation on A is same as applying this elementary column operation on Q and keeping P unchanged. So this time we will apply it on A, we will apply it on Q. We have marked a star here. So this is Q, but we will not apply it on P. So we have to use our elementary operation. C2 tends to C2 plus C1. So we will apply it here. C1 will remain as it is. C2 will be C2 plus C1. So minus 3 plus 8 is 5 and minus 4 plus 9 is 5. But this time our P will remain unchanged. So P will be written as it is and we will apply it here. 1, 2 will remain 1, 2. And C2 will be changed to C2 plus C1. So 0 plus 1 is 1 and minus 1 plus 2 is 1. So that's the reason when we use column operations to find inverse of a matrix, we start with A equals to AI. We apply operations on left hand side, but on the right hand side, as we have told here that we will apply operation on Q. P will remain unchanged. So this A will remain unchanged. The operations will be applied on only post multiplier matrix. So such type of questions can come in 1 marks, that given a matrix equation, they can ask you to apply a row transformation or a column transformation, but we need to keep this thing in mind that in case of a row transformation, we will apply it on A, we will apply it on P, but Q will remain unchanged. And similarly, if it is about a column operation, we will apply it on A and we will apply it on Q, and P will remain unchanged. Thank you.